Hello, everyone. It's Ruby D, and it is Sunday. So that means it's Soul Sunday. So, yeah, I know we are a little bit late today, but I've actually been traveling and we just made it to our destination. So now we're going to get started. So I'm just waiting for Allison, and while I'm waiting for Allison, real quick to my replay viewers, if you happen to catch this on the replay, just comment your name and where you're watching from so we can thank you for tuning in. Yeah, so now I'm just waiting on Allison. So excuse me, like I said, we are a little late because I've been traveling. It's my grandmother's birthday today, and we just finished a 2-hour drive. And I'm like, well, we're just gonna have to start late today because I'm not going live while we're driving. But hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I am waiting for Allison so I can send her an invite so we can get started. But today on Soul Sunday, Allison and I will be discussing recognizing cycles. And several reasons I wanted to talk about this particular topic. Hey, Takira. Hello, Ladacia. Hey, Sango. Thank you all for watching. Hey, Robin. I'm waiting on Allison. I know we got started a little late, but, as I said, we were traveling, and we just made it to our destination. So now we can go live and do what we got to do. Hopefully you all tuned in to our last episode, which was Soul Sunday Reloaded on Tuesday, and that was at 7 p.m. If you missed it, it was quite entertaining. I suggest you go back and watch that. Yes, recognizing cycles, like cycles in your life, whether it pertains to relationships, personal, professional, friendships. Pretty much, if you find yourself going through the same cycle, pretty much you're going through the same cycle because you're not learning the lesson that's attached to it. But you're not recognizing that it's a cycle, so you keep going through this until finally it just clicks or something within you click. So those types of cycles, not like menstrual cycles or anything. No. Life cycles, relationship cycles, cycles with the family, those types of cycles. So I'm waiting for Allison so we can bring her on so we can go ahead and get started. Allison, where you at? Where you at, girl? Where you at? But while I'm waiting for Allison, I'll go ahead and introduce myself to those that don't know me. And for those that do, I thank you for being here. But I am Ruby D, the Goddess Entrepreneur, author of the Goddess Grind book series, which focuses on you becoming the best version of you in order to manifest success personally and professionally. I am a chakra expert. I am a speaker. I am an internet radio personality. I have Soul Therapy Radio, so if anybody is interested in advertising with Soul Therapy Radio with myself and Tara, please reach out to me and I can see the information. Packages are affordable and they start at $50. And let me see. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I'm a licensed esthetician. I'm a makeup artist. There she is. Okay, Allison, I'm gonna see if I can send you this invite. Because Facebook be tripping. Facebook be tripping like it is now. It hasn't given me the option to add you yet. Facebook be tripping like I said. Come on now, Facebook. Can I bring Allison on yet? Y'all, Facebook be tripping real hard. I be trying to bring Allison on camera and Facebook be like, no, you can't bring her on yet. Hey, you everybody, thank you for tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. I'm actually trying to bring Allison on now. Hey, Leon. Hey, Steve. Hey, Jody. What's up, James? Thank you all for tuning in. But while I'm waiting for Facebook to give me the option to bring Allison on, we will be discussing cycles, recognizing cycles such as relationship cycles, life cycles, employment cycles, basically cycles that we keep continuing to go through because we're not learning the lesson that's attached to it. So as soon as I can bring Allison on, Allison it hasn't given me the option yet. It really hasn't. Facebook be on some other stuff sometimes. Like, dang, really, Facebook? Hey, Hannibal. If I can bring Allison on, we can get started. Allison, y'all, I'm sorry. I'm still waiting on Facebook to stop tripping and act right so we can, get into this conversation. Because it's really important that we discuss this, that we talk about this. And I really don't want to start this live over because then that doesn't mean that it's still going to work. You got to have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. That's really all I can say. That is really all I can say. Hey, Trina. Yeah, because I'm waiting for Facebook to give me the option to bring Allison on. I really don't want to start this live over because even if I start it over, it's no guarantee that yeah, James, I've tried that before. It won't even let me turn on the option for her to send me a request. And that actually just started a few weeks ago where, like right now, I'm trying to turn on the option for viewers to be able to request to be in my broadcast. And it won't let me do it. Oh, wait, there it is. There it is. Okay, Allison, I'm sending you the request now. Okay. It won't let me turn on the option to allow her to request to be in my broadcast because I don't know. I have no idea. Hey, boo.
It just popped up, like randomly popped up.
Right.
I don't.
Maybe it just take a while or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't even
But
give me the option to invite myself. You know that little white and green button that there used to be where it could say add. Yeah, I don't have that on any device. I looked on everything, just nothing. So I was like, I guess we'll
girl,
wait it out.
exactly. But here you are. Go ahead and introduce yourself. I already did my little thing, so
Oh, I
go
was
ahead.
listening. Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Miss Allison Denise, the petite powerhouse relationship coach and voice of the used, abused, mistreated, misused, betrayed, and broken. I'm glad to be here. We're running late, so we're gonna keep it going.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about recognizing cycles. And the reason I wanted to talk about this particular topic is because I know Allison posted something a few days ago. And then I actually had an experience myself as far as recognizing a cycle that we go through. And again, let me just clarify, I'm not talking about like a menstrual cycle. No, I'm talking about relationship cycles, life cycles, or things that we're supposed to learn lessons from. But because we never learned the lesson, we keep going through this same cycle.
Right,
And it's just like, you know, we always want to ask, well, why does this happen? And why do I always get stuck with the same dudes? Why do I always feel like I'm going through the same situation year after year? It's because you're not learning the lesson. Trust me, I go through it. It takes me a few times to go through a cycle for me to realize, oh, this is a cycle. Let me see what I'm supposed to learn so I know what I need to change.
right.
So, I'm gonna let Allison go ahead and chime in real quick with her thoughts on this particular topic.
Yeah, I'm excited about this topic because for those who are personal followers of the Allison Denise side of this conversation, you know that I'm a proponent of not taking blanket advice, and so by blanket advice, I mean the you attract what you are. That's not always true. The red flags, I know from experience that that's not always true, but it is important to pay attention to if you are still dealing with the same thing because it's not always externally there's not always an external reason that you keep dealing with that. There is an internal
Mm-hmm.
reason. There is a reason that you need to take a pause and figure out, why do I keep dating the same dude in different bodies? Why do I keep dating the same girl no matter what shade I pick? and this is brothers talking. You know, I've heard, well, I tried light skin, that didn't work. I tried dark skin, that didn't work. Yeah, but did you try to figure out what's wrong with you? And so
Right.
I think it's really important for us to talk about these cycles. And I want people to not come from a place of self condemnation. This is all about love, growth, and enlightenment. That's it. And so I
Right.
just come with an open mind. If you feel a trigger, if something we says, hits you a little bit, don't turn this off. Just know that that is the universe letting you know what area to focus on, not to beat you up, but to help you grow.
Yes. Now, also keep in mind that it does not only apply to relationships. It applies to personal relationships that you have with family, that you have with friends, professional relationships that you have at your job. If you're a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
let's start with the business.
Let's do.
I know people want us to talk about relationships, but we'll get to that.
We
Let's
will.
talk a little bit about business
Mm-hmm.
because Allison and I are both full time entrepreneurs, and both of us have been in a situation where you have to go through this period of really learning to really see if you're really prepared and ready for this life of full time entrepreneurship because it's not easy. And sometimes, of course, with your business, you have a business cycle. Your business goes up and then it comes down, then it goes up and then it comes down. Of course, that's your normal business cycle. But right before we got to the point where we decided to become full time entrepreneurs, we both got to a point where we were tired of our jobs, working whatever job we had.
Yep.
Um, for those that have watched, maybe watched lives of Soul Sunday with me and Allison, we have talked about our journey. As you know, I'm from a sales and service background where I was making over 50K a year plus bonuses. And then Allison, she was almost at six figures with her job that she was doing. But at the time that we decided that, you know what, this is not for me, we had pretty much just gotten to the point where we had gotten sick of working for somebody else and just decided to go for it.
Yeah.
But with the last job that I had, I was there. I didn't quite make 2 years. I wanted to be out of there before 2 years came. But what happened was while I was there, I went through this employment cycle or this work cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the way that cycle goes is you start and you excited about starting. It's something new, it's something different, and you're like, yeah, you know, I'm being challenged, and I know I can do this. I can rise to the occasion. You basically do what you're supposed to do. You exceed what you're supposed to do. After you exceed it, then it's like, okay, what's next? And then there's nothing that's next. And then it's just like, well, I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to be a supervisor because I know I'm not going to be here that long.
Mm-hmm.
So then you start getting tired of the job. And then you start seeing the job for what it really is. You start seeing the people for who they really are that work at this job. They messy. They always talking. Yet they're not trying to really promote nobody. They really not trying to help you. They're basically just looking out for themselves, trying to keep, their job. And then after you get to this point, you get to the point where you start getting stressed, depressed, you start dealing with anxiety, and you don't want to be there no more. And every time you go to work, you got a headache. You be looking at people crazy because you don't want to be there. And people looking at you crazy because they know you don't want to be there. Yeah. And then all of a sudden something happens and it's just like, well, oh, I'm okay with this. You either get a raise or you get moved to a different team or you get moved to another part of the building or you get moved to a different department, and temporarily everything is okay because it's somewhat like a new start.
Yeah.
But then eventually you're gonna figure that out. You're gonna exceed, and then you want to know, well, I don't like this department either because these people the same way. And then you get to the point where you start getting the headaches and the stress and depression and all this other kind of stuff, and you don't want to be there. And then it's just like it's a cycle, and this cycle will continue as long as you are there. And it's just like, if you know deep down that you do not like working for somebody else, you need to start working on your business, focusing more on your business and making that transition not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and energetically. because you know you're not supposed to be at that job, especially if you do something and people at your job tell you, oh, do you sell this? Do you make, you know, you need to do this full time. If I was you, I would be selling this. If I was you, I wouldn't even be working here. I'd be doing this full time. That's how you know you're in a cycle, because if you keep going through this but never doing anything different, what do you expect? I've talked a little bit long. I'm gonna let Allison go ahead and talk a little bit because I know she itching to say
Well,
something.
shoot, I was learning from you. I was learning from you, and sorry for my water. I'm behind on my intake for the day.
Girl, you did. I
Okay.
need to find mine.
Talking about the cycle with work, Ruby and I, we both went through the cycle. Mine, it didn't start to involve me seeing how other people were until the universe started to figure out that I just wasn't getting the hint. And so initially, the way mine started, as I look back, and we talked about this before, I come from a corporate training background. I started that back in 2002. I started back in 2002, got my official training position in 2004. I'm great at it. I'm good at it. I excel at it. Those that I have trained love me. They went on to do great things in their career because I gave them a great foundation. But I never paid attention to how the universe was telling me that it was time for me to move out until I had actually left the job. Fast forward to February of this year. So now 14 years further, and the signs were there. My first training job was 5 years. My second training job was 2 years. My third training job was 6 months. My fourth was 10 months. My fifth, it was ridiculous. I wasn't paying attention though because I was doing what a lot of us do. Now I was seeing very quickly that a job wasn't a good fit for me. And I even, did certain things that I know some of y'all, you may not have known you were doing it because I didn't until I had left, but you kind of slack off too. You kind of start doing less and less and doing just enough to get by, and you show up to work just a few minutes later or a few minutes later because I wasn't on a clock. I could come and go as I please, but there was still
Mm-hmm.
an expectation of when to come in. That got later and later, which meant I ended up having to stay later and later to get my hours in, which meant that I had less time at home to just chill because the clock's not going to reverse because I took too long to get to work. So it was just this ongoing cycle, and
Mm-hmm.
the universe had to finally get my attention with the last three positions. The last three positions was when the universe had to hit me a little bit harder, a little bit harder. The first one, I just walked into nonsense. I walked into a toxic environment. I walked into an environment where I was supporting people in Texas that didn't want to talk to me, didn't want to deal with me. And it took one person who finally started to pick up that I was different to tell me that the manager that I had, who was all the way in Florida, had been hiring people in my role to spy on them. So they just thought I was going to be another spy. But once they figured out, oh, she's not with that program, that's when things started to open up. But by it opening up here, my relationship with that manager in Florida got toxic. And I'll talk another time about how I left that job. People said it was legendary. It is what it is. I did what I needed to do. But the job after that, I was there 2.5 years. But for the first 6 months were great. The last 6 months were okay, but everything in the middle was nothing but racism. I had never dealt with racism on any job.
Mm-hmm.
And I dealt with racism. Now, what the universe allowed me to do was see the same people who had been racist, that the universe allowed me to sit there and watch everybody leave before I did. I got to see them be asked to leave. I got to see them go. I got to see them resign before stuff hit the fan. So that part was pretty cool, but I still wasted time. And so
Mm-hmm.
the universe was just like, well, surely she's gonna get it now. But then I go take another job because they offered me almost 30,000 more than that job was making. Oh yeah, I'm there. Good. I didn't apply for it. They found me. They recruited me. This has got to be God, right? No. And I stay at that job. I stay at that job for 2 years, but I actually stayed connected to that paycheck for 2 years. And that almost took me out physically. I had more health
Mm-hmm.
issues. I had more I had more drama than I ever had, but I couldn't see past that check. And so
That part.
if you are dealing with that, because that was hard. And unfortunately, because I had gotten to that level, becoming an entrepreneur, and you basically do start at ground zero, no matter how much money you have saved, you start at ground zero. My fall was harder because I didn't get the hint 4 years ago. So I kept climbing this way, which meant the drop was a lot harder. So if you guys are dealing with
Mm.
a cycle in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of you keep picking the same job thinking it's going to be different, it's not going to be different because you're not in the right job. You're not doing the right thing. And I guarantee you, just like Ruby said, somewhere, if you really sit down, get quiet, and think about it, you have people in public who keep asking you if you're something or if you do something. You have people on that job that keep coming and asking you questions, and they keep saying, you know what, you should do this full time, you should do that full time. That is the universe speaking to you. That is the universe telling you, get out of this position. This is what you're meant to do. So make
Yeah.
sure that you are paying attention to those signs. They're not as subtle as we think we are, as we think they are. Sometimes we just don't pay attention to them because we don't know what a sign really is. So that's all I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to add.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. We are discussing recognizing cycles. Lodacia says, could any of those cycles be connected to your chakras not being balanced? Once they're balanced, wouldn't that click pretty much go off in your mind and tell you the cycle needs to end? And of course, yes, ma'am. Sure does. That's why I like to talk so much about the chakras and getting them balanced, because when you get to the point where your chakras are balanced, you're pretty much at that point where you know what you want, you know what your energy body feels like.
Yep.
You know when your body is giving you signs, you know when God is giving you signs, you know when the universe is giving you signs,
Mm-hmm.
because you're so in tune with what's going on and with who you are and why you are and what you want, that these things process quicker, and it just clicks, oh, that's what's going on, let me fix it. When your chakras are not balanced and you don't spend that time by yourself, you don't know yourself like that, like you should,
Mm-hmm.
then everything else is a distraction.
Yep.
Everything else keeps you from realizing what's really going on, and which the signs can be through a person, through numbers, through animals, through TV commercials, anything. So yes, but Allison did bring up a good point as far as it wasn't that job that kept her in that cycle, it was that paycheck. A lot of us are dealing with cycles because of money,
Mm-hmm.
because we feel like if we're not getting enough, or if money is tied to it, that it must be a blessing of some sort, that we are supposed to be there because we're making X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But then you turn around and look at it, your health is failing. You can't even request time off work. You getting upset you're sick every time you go to work. And just different things like that, all because of a paycheck. But only you can evaluate what's going on in your life and why you're dealing with certain situations over and over again. And
Yep.
that's just professional. Personal
Yep.
relationships, if you keep dating the same people, you're pretty much just going through a cycle, just like Allison said. Same person, same set of situations, same set of lessons that need to be learned, but just with a different person. And it's just like you're so caught up in wanting to be in a relationship, wanting to be in love, the history that you've built with this person, or the history that's tied to this person, that you can't even get to the point where you're recognizing that it's a cycle. You're choosing the same person over and over again, not learning the same lesson. It's just like, and another thing, each time you go through a cycle, it becomes harder for you to learn the lesson. In a sense, it's just like, do you really have to get to the point where it turns violent, or either you basically you hard headed? At that point, you get hard headed, and it's just like, And how many times do you have to do something that you ain't, when you were little, think about this, when you were little, how many times did you have to get a whooping to learn not to do that? I mean, and each time you got a whooping, if your mama said, don't do that, the first time she popped your hand, you did it again, don't do that. And each time you got beat, it got worse because it's just like clearly you dumb or you just really just not you just not willing to listen to what it is that I'm
At all.
saying. And because you're not willing to listen to what I'm saying, that's making me mad.
Yep.
And now I feel like I need to beat you harder because not only are you listening, but you also ignoring me.
Right.
That's the person saying like, "Oh, so you don't get this? That's all right. Keep playing. Let's keep going through this." And then you finally get to the point where you learn it. But by the time you learn it, you're in a relationship that's um emotionally, violent, physically violent, mentally violent, and then now you're toxic. And it's just like, well, if you would have just learned the lesson the first or second time you went through the cycle, you wouldn't be at this particular point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to blame it on things outside of us to say, well, it's not my fault I'm like this. I'm like this because this person did this to me or this person did that to me. Well, what did you learn?
Right.
Well, I don't know. Well, did you take time to think about it?
No.
And that's why we look at some people like, how do you jump from one relationship to the next relationship? I mean, for some people, it don't take 2 weeks to process what you should have learned from this relationship. Some people, it does take a little bit longer. But if the next day you with somebody else, it's just like you ain't processed nothing.
Mm-mm.
You can't possibly process anything.
At all.
Right. And you going from one and sliding up under another one, men, you too, because y'all do it too. You ain't learned nothing either. You didn't learn that damn thing you were supposed to learn. You don't even recognize that you're in a cycle because you're too busy sliding up under somebody else.
Right.
You need to take some time for yourself and get to know yourself. That's why people say take a little time off and evaluate what happened in that relationship. Because if not, you are going to repeat it just with somebody else.
That's true. uh,
Wait, we
I
got a
wanted to get,
comment real quick.
okay.
Um, oh, you can go. Well, you finna do some shout outs. You can go ahead.
Okay, I want to shout out some people that are coming from Allison, Denise. Thank you guys for the support today. What's up, Mark? What's up, Marcus? What's up, Shelly? What's up, Sunshine? What's up, Shantae? And what's up, Demo and Katrina? That's what I wanted to do real quick. You said you wanted to do the comment first.
Yeah,
Okay.
she says, I got a pretty good idea of certain things when it comes to chakras, but I'm still learning about them. Total beginner over here. But what if a person never learns their lesson yet they don't want to be a part of that cycle? What if they don't know how to simply develop some sort of strategy to get out of that cycle so they can finally learn their lesson and grow from that point on? You pretty much, in my opinion, you first have to realize that you are in a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Once you realize that you are in a cycle, then you have to ask yourself why. Why do you keep repeating this cycle? Um, because it's hard to try and get out of the cycle if you don't even know that a cycle exists. So that's why I say you have to recognize it first and then ask yourself, why are you repeating this cycle? And if you know why you're repeating it, then you know what you need to fix or what you need to work on so that you don't continue in that same cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much just basically holding yourself accountable and just being honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it. Allison?
Yeah, I agree, and I'll tag her answer on to my response to what Ruby was saying. When you're dealing with cycles in personal relationships, there usually is, or I'm not going to say usually, there is a lesson. Now, going back to chakras, I will say that for the bulk of my situation, specifically in previous relationships and with the career, my chakras weren't balanced, and I can tell you they weren't balanced because I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know anything about it. I was still very much following religion, which was not helping me. And what I noticed is what I was dealing with in terms of my career and my personal relationships. Those time frames have gotten shorter as I become more aware, not just what chakras are, because you can know a lot but not execute. But as I've started to
Mhm.
execute what I know, as I've started to benefit from meditation and staying calm and learning how to speak what I mean and mean what I say, and as I've gotten that courage to walk away from situations where I'm not being heard, that is where the cycle either gets shorter or just becomes non-existent. And so with the personal relationships, just to answer that question real quickly, um, if you know you have a problem, but you don't want to deal with the process of finding out an answer, you are basically signing up to keep going through the cycle. There's no way out of the
Mhm.
cycle except out of it. You can't say I know I'm in it, but I don't want to do the work to get out. Well, then by default you're going to stay in. You don't get to change what the law of the universe is. You don't get to
Right.
change that. So if you know you're dealing with a cycle and you're aware of it, but you don't want to do the work, you're going to keep going through it. You can't think your way out of it. You can't outthink the universe. You can't outthink God. You're going to keep dealing with it because the only purpose that God and the universe have for you is for you to be your best self. So if you want to keep going through the second grade, the universe is going to let you keep going through the second grade until you're ready to go to the third grade. And that's going to
Right.
involve you deciding that you want to learn, grow, and execute that which you are paying attention to. And when you're dealing with, cycles in relationships, sometimes the issue isn't necessarily the person. And what I mean by that is some may say, well, I keep dealing with the same woman who the same type of woman who just wants me for my money. Or a woman will say, well, I keep dating the same guy who wants to play with my feelings. Sometimes it's not about dealing with the person that's playing with your feelings. Sometimes the lesson could be as simple as, when are you going to learn to speak up for yourself earlier? When are you going to learn to
Mhm.
uh, go ahead and call out? And I've done that, and it has helped me. It has saved me from going through relationship after relationship for years and years and years and years. Just in the past month, I've shut 3 dudes down in a week. Had I not been and I say that because had I not been more aware of what I wanted, had I not finally got hurt to the point that I was sick of being hurt in a particular area and I was willing to sit my butt down and see what the problem was, I could take the focus of, oh, he hurt me, oh, he did this, oh, he did. No, I was able to stop that and say, okay, well, wait. At what point did you figure out that this might not go the way you wanted to go? And what did you do? And this time I just decided to do differently. It was really that
Right.
simple. And so, and those who have followed me on Allison Denise at Night, you've heard me talk about one guy that I had to block. He didn't get the hint. I'm not your wife. I don't care what God told you. He didn't tell me. You're not getting the hint, so I'm blocking you. I've had another guy, oh, I meant to do this and I meant to do that, and he reeks of narcissism. And there's some
Mhm.
smells, there's some stink you just don't want to deal with again, and you never forget how it smells. And when you get a first whiff of it, you don't need full force, you walk away. Sometimes that is all a cycle is designed to teach you. Smell the scent and walk away. Don't try to cover it up. Don't decide that you need to grab some Fabuloso or some Lysol and try to make it accept that it stinks and walk away. It's really sometimes that simple. The longer we stay somewhere, the more we get hurt. There's no way around it. The person could return. You could decide that you want to grow up, and maybe you'll figure out, well, yeah, he did hurt me, but I also did A, B, C, D. Maybe once you get the lesson, you'll be reconnected. Who knows? But as long as you stay
Right.
where you are, you're going to deal with the same stuff, and it's not going anywhere. So that's what I want to add.
Right. Thank you all for tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. We did get started a little late today, which is absolutely fine. We are discussing recognizing cycles, such as life cycles, relationship cycles, employment cycles, things of that nature. Things that we're supposed to learn lessons from, those things. Now, also, we have to realize that with cycles, because I have recognized this with myself. Sometimes after you've learned the lesson, you will be tested. Um, and I say that because I recognize that I had a cycle pretty much when working with my businesses, being an entrepreneur. Once I get to a point where I'm supposed to focus on my business more, I noticed that the attention or the interest that I got from men increased because that is a cycle that I realized.
Huh?
And I recognized it was a cycle because ever so often, like around the same time, interest would increase. And I would be like, where are y'all coming from? Oh, where y'all coming from? But then I started relating it or connecting it to my business when I was supposed to be focusing more on my business. The interest would increase. And if I, for any reason, engaged more with these guys, then I recognized that business and productivity would go down. Exactly. And so the last time I was like, I know what's going on. Nope, not gonna happen. Not dealing with it. It's nice to hear from y'all, but I got something I got to do. I got some business I got to take care of.
Right.
And then once I learned the lesson, it stopped happening for a while. But then it all of a sudden just creeped up like, hey, you're not getting me like that. Cycles will test you.
Yeah. They,
After you learn the lesson and you know what you're supposed to do, they will come back around to test you again to see if you really learned what you were supposed to learn.
mm-hmm.
Trust me, it happens.
It does.
I know y'all have seen that meme where it says, sometimes if your ex come back, it's not meant for y'all to be together. He just checking to see if you still stupid or something like that. Whatever that meme is, pay attention to it. Because cycles will come back around to see if you really learned your lesson. And if not, guess what? You're going to be repeating the same cycle. You have to, like I said, you have to learn to recognize what's going on. And sometimes it's not hard to recognize because you find yourself in the same situations.
Yeah.
Just like, for example, with New Year's resolutions. How many times y'all got to make resolutions and then about 6 weeks in, y'all done? Y'all done gave up and you need to find some new stuff to to decide you're going to change your work on,
Okay.
or either do something different. You know it's a cycle. Then that's why everybody be complaining like, "Oh Lord, here we go with this new year, new me type stuff and all this other." No, nobody. Look, people recognize cycles before you do. We tired of seeing you do the same thing over and over again. Show us something new. Show us something different. And you wonder why people looking at you like you crazy because you are. I clearly see your insanity because you still doing the same thing you've been doing for the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't recognized it yet. Friend, unfollow, and block because I'm tired of looking at you.
Oh my.
Hey, Marquise. Hey, One. Hey, Shara. Hey, Terrence. I'm just shouting out people. Hey, Magdalena. Hey, Teresa. Thank you all for tuning in. Go ahead, Alice.
Shout out to Trail and what's up, Brandon? How you doing? Oh, so yeah, the thing about cycles testing you, you have to, like Ruby said, it's designed to see if you've learned a lesson, and the purpose of learning the lesson, you can think of it like a final exam. You finish that final
Mm-hmm.
exam and it lets you know, have you mastered what you need enough to pass this class or to go to the next grade or whatever it is. And so the tests are coming back around now. Yeah, and I'll be the first to tell you, sometimes those tests do feel kind of cruel. It's like, okay, why would you test me in this area? Why would you test me right now? Why would you test me with this person? This is not cool. But the
Right.
universe knows, okay, if there's any chance of he or she passing this test, I got to go full force. I got to give everything at once and see if they can withstand it. Because if they can withstand it from the person that they didn't think they could live without, if they can withstand it from the sexual activity they didn't think they could live without, if they can do it, then I know they're ready. And so,
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons that you're being tested is because the universe doesn't want you to fail at the next level. It's really that
Mm-hmm.
simple. If you're meant to have a great business, but you have a problem with saving money, why would the universe give you a huge business just for you to go bankrupt because you still haven't learned a lesson in saving money? So the universe will never set you up to fail. The universe will never set you up to fail in any area of life. It's just showing what you're willing to have. Some of you will be
Right.
tested with sex. You may have figured out that you've been promiscuous too long and it's not giving you the result that you wanted. So you may decide that you want to chill for a minute. That doesn't mean that the same type of girl or the same type of guy that usually got you going won't, will all of a sudden stop coming around. No, you're going to get hit there because you
Mm-hmm.
have to know that you said no. You have to know that you turned it down. You need to know that because that increases your awareness and your energy so you can move forward. Some of you will be tested as you become a new entrepreneur. I've talked about this. You will be tested. I was almost making six figures. I went from that to not close to that. I'll leave it there. And I have gone through some situations. I've still had people who have sent emails, hey, we need someone with your qualifications and this is what we're willing to pay, and the money is beautiful, it sounds great, but that's not why I quit. I quit so that I could get my business off the ground. So I've had to
Mm-hmm.
pass those tests that said, no, universe, as much as I miss being able to do some of the things that I did with that income, I know when I'm making that income and working for me, it's going to be a better feeling. So I'm choosing to thug it out. The point is, understand that those tests are designed not only for the universe to see if you're ready, but for you to see how ready you are as well. And so just
Right.
be honest. If you fail that test, don't beat yourself up. Just say, oh, okay, so right now sex has a bigger hold on me than I thought. All right, so what else can I do? Oh, I guess I really do want a relationship. I guess I really do want to not be alone more than I want to be in a good relationship. Okay, what else can I do? It's designed to get you thinking, get the wheel spinning so that you can move forward and pass the test next time. That's it.
Right. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. We are discussing recognizing cycles. Now we also have to realize that with cycles, um, you have to step outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're within your comfort zone, y'all know, if y'all have heard me say it, comfort zones are just coping zones. When you don't, that's where you go when you don't want to grow, you don't want to try nothing new, you don't want to try anything different, you don't want to be accountable. You just want to go back to the same old because you feel safe there
Mm-hmm.
and you fear going outside of this box.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're staying within a comfort zone, I can almost guarantee you you're going through cycles. When you step outside of your comfort zone, that's almost like you saying to yourself, you know what, I'm not going to keep dealing with the same thing. I'm not going to stay comfortable because I'm scared to grow.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you stay within, first of all, if just think of a box. If you stay in this same box, you don't let anything in, you don't let anything out. How do you expect anything to change? I'm just saying, ain't nothing coming in, ain't nothing going out.
I don't,
At least open the box and peek out and see what's out there.
at least.
Right. And be like, after you peek, didn't that happen? Oh, so let me go a little further. Oh, didn't I let me step outside the box. Oh, this ain't so bad. Maybe you should try it. But as long as you stay within that comfort zone, that coping zone,
Mm-hmm.
I can almost guarantee you're gonna be dealing with some cycles.
Absolutely.
That's the number one. That's like easy. If you cannot tell whether or not you're dealing with a cycle,
Mm-hmm.
just think about it. If every time something happens, do you always go back to that same thing that you always do? Just like what day was it? Oh, when me last week when me, Allison, and Tara was talking about sisterhood, and you said to Tara that pretty much you had reached out to her and she pretty much just stopped everything, stopped all communication. And she was like, for her, she realized that's what she did.
Mm-hmm.
That was that, that was what was comfortable for her.
Yep.
So that was like, in order to do something different, she had to step outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
But it was a cycle that she realized that she did. It's just like, at some point, if something didn't quite work out right, then she just cut off all communication. And it's just like, that's, if you don't have any other way of trying to figure out whether or not you're dealing with a cycle, see if you always revert back to the same action, to the same situation, to the same place when things start to get a little funny for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, wait a minute, this is something new, different. This is something different. I'm not ready to go there yet. Let me back up and do what I always do.
Yep.
You're probably in a cycle.
Very true.
Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Allison,
Shout,
what you got for us?
shout out to Miss Betty. And what's up, Sammy? Good to see you. And what's up, Antoine? I saw you just come on. Thank you for joining. So with this particular part, I think it's important for you to get to a place of understanding that what you're used to in some cases is destroying you. At the
Mm-hmm.
very least, it is preventing you or obstructing you or something, but you're allowing yourself, as Ruby said, to stay in a box. And it can be for various reasons. You may like that box because you're afraid. You may like the mindsets that you picked up because they make you feel less vulnerable. You may like certain behaviors you picked up because you've been hurt so much that you'd rather just be in control. And if other people get hurt as a result of you being in control, then fine, as long as it's not you. You could have any multiple reasons, but I need you to understand that anytime you decide that you want to become something, and I think I just talked about this on Thursday night, anytime you decide that you want to become something or someone or develop a mindset that goes against what you were created to be and what you were created to have, you're taking yourself off of several different paths. You may be saying that you want to be emotionally unavailable because you got hurt last time, but you don't understand that being emotionally unavailable is not going to connect you to a person who will deserve you. You may decide
Mm-hmm.
that you don't want to go into business anymore because you failed, but you don't understand that that could also be preventing you because you never learned how to fight through failure. Now you're not going to have the relationship you want because anytime things get hard, you've just taught yourself to give up. So there, you don't understand exactly how everything is meant to work together in your life, and these lessons that you learn in one area can help you in other areas. And you'll
Mm-hmm.
also start to figure out that you have a capacity to do more than you think you can. I'm big on relationships, and that's what I discuss. But a lot of you, what's up, Kurt? I see that you just came on too. A lot of you are in a position where you have decided. I'll just talk. I had a brother that I talked to all the way home from a meeting I went to yesterday, and he's emotionally unavailable. And his mindset was, I'm unavailable because the last woman did this and she did this, and I decided no other woman is going to do that. I said, yeah, but do you understand that you're also closing the same door to let the good one in? Do you understand that you're also setting yourself up to maybe meet the good one, but not keep her because a good woman is going to want your vulnerability. And if you're not going to offer it and all you're going to offer is pushback, eventually she's going to stop fighting you and just stay gone. And so, even though that sounded like common sense to me, he never saw it that way. He thought he was just keeping hurt out. But when you try to keep hurt out, specifically in relationships, you're also not allowing love to come in.
Right.
And so, one of the ways that you'll know that you are in a comfort zone is that you keep meeting good women, you keep meeting good men, but then you keep looking for reasons to push them away. That is a sign that you are damaged and that you want to stay in a cocoon. You have the option to stay in that cocoon. But the fact that you keep connecting to people that do want to connect with you and commit to you, here's what a lot of my brothers and sisters don't understand. If you keep connecting with people who want to commit to you, it's a sign that the person you won't let go of mentally didn't deserve you. Because for whatever reason, even at your lesser state, some people can still see your value and still see that you bring enough to the table that they want to commit and be with you. But you're so focused on who didn't see that that you're missing the person who does, and you keep beating up that person. That's a comfort zone, my brothers and my sisters. That's nothing more than a comfort zone. Now you're saying, I'm used to being the same way the person who hurt me was to me. I picked up their characteristics. I feel stronger. I feel like I'm not going to get hurt. And so I'm going to keep doing the same thing. That's a comfort zone. You got to let that go.
That's a coping zone. That's what it
A
is.
coping zone. My bad. My bad.
Comfort zone make it sound real nice.
Good
A
point.
coping zone make it sound like what it really is.
You're right. I'm gonna change my words. Coping zone. I'm gonna remember that. What's up, Melissa? What's up, Aisha? I see y'all just came on too. Oh, what's up, Wakia?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you all for tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. We are discussing recognizing cycles. And we are basically here every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we also do Tuesdays now for Soul Sunday Reloaded. But on Tuesdays, it's at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all missed it last Tuesday, y'all better go back and watch it.
Oh, Lord. Y'all don't really have to.
We had
You don't want
such
to.
fun. Look at you, turn red already.
Leave
See
me
there?
alone now.
See? Let's see. Noelani says, I keep having those friends that get mad and cut communicating if I tell them something and it's true. It's like they're embarrassed or mad. Honey, they ain't got nothing to do with you. That's them.
Mm-mm.
Pretty much. Hey, if you basically pointing something out to them and it's pretty much a cycle, like I said, we sometimes we can see the cycle and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And you saying something, it's just like, look, I'm tired of you going through this. If they want to keep going through it, then hey, ain't nothing you can do. Let them keep going through it.
Mm.
Eventually, hopefully, at some point, they realize what's going on.
Absolutely.
Another thing with recognizing cycles, sometimes it may not even be anything that you need to fix or that you need to change. It may simply just need to be that you recognize that it's a cycle. Some of us are so bad at recognizing, at not being able to recognize a cycle. Sometimes the first step is just realizing that you're going through a cycle. Like, didn't I do something like this last year? Wasn't I in the same position I was in, the same position I'm in now? Wasn't I here last year? Didn't I say last time this happened, I wasn't going to let this happen again?
Right.
Find yourself saying that. You're probably dealing with a cycle. I think about it, you'd be like, didn't ain't this the same place? Yes, that is the same place you were emotionally. That is the same place you were mentally.
Right.
That is the same place you were spiritually and energetically.
Yes.
Even though you posted, oh, I'm about to change this up, I'm about to switch this up, and you look around, it's like, wait, this looks totally familiar. You think you ain't changed nothing? You still going through that same cycle.
Same.
But sometimes it's just a matter of recognizing what a cycle looks like for you.
Mm-hmm.
A cycle may not look the same for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
For some, the cycle could be repeating the same actions. For some, a cycle may be repeating the same words, having the same feelings, having the same thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Really, nobody can figure that out but you. What that particular thing is and how you determine how you're going through a cycle. But, other people can still recognize it when you can't. Like when you keep dating the same type of dude, every time you get a new job, some people can't keep a job more than like 6 months. They basically get a job, they be there for a little while, they like it, and then something happen and then they lose the job. And then, they get another job, they there for a little while. Whatever the cycle is, we don't know what your cycles are. We don't know what you dealing with in your life. None of us know that but you.
Mm-hmm.
But like Noelani said, her friend, basically when she say something to them, they cut off communication. If you the type of person where you recognize a cycle, And you know, you reach out because you love this person is your friend, and you say something to them, and then they just stop, they cut you off, stop communicating, then that should tell you something right there. Maybe you shouldn't be their friend or something. I don't know. Only you can determine that, but it is something that you need to pay attention to, you know. But I'm just saying, what time is it? You can't be talking all day. Oh, okay, we got a few more minutes. 2 more minutes. Come on, Allison. I know you got something else for us before we go.
I do. So let's go with the question that Ruby is currently answering to, along with her subject. So here's what you have to understand. One of the first things that you have to do in this life is figure out who you are. And
Yeah.
I'll make it a little smaller and just say you have to figure out what friends you are in a group. Everybody plays a role in every group. And you have to be aware of what the good is with that role as well as what the consequences are. If you keep having friends that disappear or fall off after you tell them something, your role is truth teller. Your role may also be empath. You may have to research that, but your role is truth teller. You see things as they are. Now, you do want to do a self check. Make sure you're not being hateful. Make sure you're not being insensitive or unnecessarily cruel when you give the delivery. But if that's not what you're doing, you need to understand that your role is truth teller. And sometimes you uncover things that people don't want to deal with. So when they fall off, I want you to start replaying this word in your head if you know that you did everything the right way. Now, if you were cruel or insensitive, you need to go back and fix that. They don't have to deal with that. But if you weren't and you were
Mm-hmm.
simply just being honest, start repeating this when they come up. Their silence is saying, yes, you're right, but I don't want to deal with it right now. And now that you've told me that you know what I don't want to deal with, I don't want to deal with you until I'm ready to deal with that. And at that point, you hold space. Now, hold space over there, way over there. But hold space because what you've done now is plant the seed where they're going to have no choice but to face it because you brought it back to their attention. And when they are
Mm-hmm.
ready to face it, they're not going to go to the people that they've gone to talk about you about. They're going to come back to you because they'll know they're ready for truth. And now you told them where they can find it and be supported and going towards it. So I just wanted to put
Mm-hmm.
that out there. But in terms of what Ruby said about the cycles and understanding that sometimes it's just meant for you to know what the cycle is, I need y'all to know how true that statement she made really is. Now, people pick on me a lot now. People call me cut off queen. They call me all of these things now, but only a select few know exactly how sensitive I am. And only a select few know how deeply, when I'm in, all the way in. Hanging on to the bumper, I'm in. And what the most difficult part of no contact, now I have developed an ability to do it now, no contact and just disengaging from people. That has been hard, but I learned that my cycle was I kept repeating myself to people that I knew heard me. I knew they heard what I said. I knew they heard
Mm-hmm.
that their behavior hurt me. I knew they heard the crying, the pleading, the messages, the speeches, the letters, that I knew they heard me. I didn't want to deal with the fact that their behavior, even if they came around and did some of what I asked for a little bit, I held on too much to the hope on that, then paying attention to the fact that they eventually just went back and did what the hell they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to stay there, because I saw something in them that I wanted, because I thought, this is who I want to be, because of those things. Now, I know that anything can happen, but I know that I won't get what I want if I keep putting up with what I don't. And so
Right.
it was really hard to go no contact, because if I've gone no contact on somebody, I love them. I love them. But I also had to do no contact to say, yeah, but Allison, remember that it's okay to love you too. Remember that it's okay for you to want what you want. Them not wanting to give it to you doesn't mean you shouldn't want it. It means they don't want to give it to you. So sit still, sit in what you want. And that's what no contact has done for me. Now, of course, if they're abusers, they never gonna hear from me again. That's a completely different story. But if I've had to disengage with the person, it's because I've been hurt to the point where I now have to sit back and say, live your life and let everything else work out the way that it's supposed to. And so that was one cycle for me. I had to learn,
Mhm.
stop repeating yourself. People hear you. And I put this meme up, people joked about it, but I said, not once have I ever had to tell a man more than one time that I was ready to have sex. Not once. I've never had to repeat that. Never. Now I'm picky. Not many people have heard those words, but when I say I'm ready for some, I have never had to repeat that. So why the hell would I keep repeating, I want you to do this? It hurts when you do this. It hurts when you do that.
Right.
Why would I keep doing that? It's because I wanted them so badly. I didn't want to start over. I wanted to be with them. But until they want to be with me the same way, I'm wasting my breath.
Exactly.
And so that may be a cycle for somebody else to figure out as well. So just like Ruby says, sometimes the cycles are just meant to wake you up. Allison, you got to stop doing that. He heard you. Stop it. He heard you. When he's ready to listen, if he's ready to listen, he'll tell you. But until then, go over here, all the way over
Right.
here. Live your life. So I just wanted to add that.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. We are discussing recognizing cycles. Now, the last thing before we get ready to go is when we are thinking about cycles, we have to pay attention to the type of conversation we're having with ourselves when it comes to recognizing a cycle. Because if you recognize a cycle, but you do absolutely nothing about it, you're basically saying that you're not important enough to yourself, you don't matter to yourself, or whoever is involved within this cycle, like Allison said. She kept doing that thing to herself because she wanted to be with that other person so badly. That was basically her saying that other person is more important than she is to herself. And we have to realize that we do things to basically reinforce these negative thoughts that we have about ourselves. We may not even recognize that we're having negative thoughts about ourselves, and that's how we communicate with ourselves. It's not communicating with yourself, is not always saying, Ruby, you are this, Ruby, you are that. It's pretty much through your actions as well, through what you do for other people that you don't do for yourself, through basically anytime you put yourself on the back burner, whether it's not recognizing a cycle, or either you recognize a cycle but you don't love yourself enough to change the habits, to change the thoughts, to change the behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
or any of that, you're basically saying everything else is more important than you.
Yep.
Ain't nobody more important to me. And I don't care how good it is, it was, it's gonna be. I gotta look out for myself. Can't nobody else do that. Trust me. If somebody recognizes a cycle with you and they love themselves more than they love you, guess who about to get cut off? You. And they gonna be over there doing what they need to do for them. And that's just how you have to think about it. It's like, I say it like this. I've come a long way with self love and self respect and self everything
Mm-hmm.
to go back. I don't care how fine and how nice your beard is and how nice your muscles are, and whew,
I do
if
love
I have to put myself first,
my bad, had a
that's what
flashback.
I'm gonna do. It'll be some old muscles to come along. It'll be some old beards and mustaches and tattoos and whoever else. He might not even have no tattoos. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just talking. I'm just talking. But just recognize the type of conversation or the types of things you are basically reinforcing within your mind when you don't recognize these cycles, when you don't do what you need to do to end these cycles, that when you don't do what you need to do to keep these cycles from being basically passed on to your children, to your grandchildren, and so on and so forth. Y'all got to recognize them. That's all I'm saying. Just pay attention to what you're doing, what's going on in your life, and if you see some things getting a little bit repetitive,
Mm-hmm.
you need to change something. That's all I'm saying. Allison, you got some last words for us,
I
honey?
do. Biggest thing
Okay.
at the end of what Ruby just said, when you notice, my big thing is speak up, and you don't understand the positive that happens when you learn to speak up. That's something that I have done also. I have, gotten to the point of dating a gentleman, and I just started to see some things that were bringing me down a past road, and I didn't like where that road ended. Now, old Allison
Mm-hmm.
would have just, well, let me just wait and see, and well, let me just figure it. Did this Allison? Okay, we need to have a talk. I'm noticing A, B, C, D, and I'm not accusing you of nothing, but I'm telling you that it's reminding me of C, D, E, F, and G.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. That part.
and
Yes.
it's cool if that is where you are, but if it is, I am separating at this time because I don't like where that road leads. And that person has either, well, one has tried to lie, but of course I still picked up that they were doing the same stuff, so they got dismissed. The other one was very mature and said, okay, no, that's not what it is. Here is what's happening. That I
Mm-hmm.
respected. That part I respected. Who knows what will happen as a result? But here's the thing, when we say we want openness and honesty, we also need to learn how to give it, and we need to know how to speak it, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you will be with the person that is best for you may not have it all together.
Right.
My ladies, we do communicate better than our brothers. Sometimes he's going to learn how to communicate by the way you communicate. And if you never speak up about anything wrong, he's not going to learn how to speak up with anything is wrong. He may revert back to whatever it is, which is shutting you out or finding a side piece or whatever. But if
Yep.
you go and sit down and say, hey, I don't like when you do this, not yelling, not screaming, not bitching, not whining, just talking. If you just sit there like I did and say, hey, I think you're great. I'm really enjoying the time we're spending together, but I'm noticing these behaviors. Can we discuss it? He was willing
Yes.
to discuss it. That is what you want. That is what you want. But sometimes you got to put it in to get it back. So that's
You
what I
sure
wanted to
do.
say.
Right. And as Allison was talking, I did come up with one last little thing. I'm gonna keep saying this the last thing, and it's gonna be the last thing for real. But sometimes within these cycles,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to go through the whole cycle to know it's a cycle. Like Allison said, she saw A, B, C, and knew D, E, F was coming. Y'all know if y'all see this, this, and this, A, B, and C, clearly what's about to happen. What could possibly happen? And it's possible that it may not happen, but if you see this is a continuous pattern, a continuous cycle, it's absolutely okay for you to say, oh, wait a minute, this is what it looks like, just like she said. This is what it looks like. Is this what it is? That's y'all fault. Y'all ain't saying that. I ain't got that problem. Clearly, Allison ain't got that problem now that she's identified, what that cycle was for her. That's your fault you don't say nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have a couple comments. Let me go back because Ladacia did have one. She said, I feel like me and your brother's in the same boat. Oh, this was when you were talking about your friend, Allison.
Okay.
Um, where you have a point, good ones can't get through the door because it's closed, but what if you open that door and realize it was a dead end? You're going to eventually close that door permanently for a while because you're not getting anywhere simply in that area. You tried to trust again and you were let down again. That sounds like a cycle right there. Maybe closing the door. Um, I did have some that came to mind when I was reading that, but we do have one from Divinity. People is getting this self love out of control. Hearts are wax cold. Self love can become selfish, having no compassion and understanding for others. It depends on how a person views it and how a person. I don't think self love itself is selfish at all. If it gets to the point where it becomes selfish, it's not self love.
That's exactly
Not
what I
if
was going to
you
say.
have a clear understanding of what self love is.
Exactly.
That's something completely different if it gets to the point where it becomes selfish. Ladacia, what did you say? Pretty much. Back to if you close the door and you open it and realize it's a dead end. Pretty much I have to put it like this. It's nothing that we have the power to keep from happening. And there's no way of knowing how something is going to end. The only thing that you can do is once you open that door, you have to be okay with yourself enough to know when you see red flags and to be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, you don't open the door and get all the way to the end and realize it's a dead end. Things don't work that way. There are things that you see on your way there.
Mm-hmm.
We always have clues, we always get information, we always get something um that tell us whether we need to keep going forward or whether we need to go in a different direction. I mean, that's even with um just regular directions going somewhere. It's not always a straight line to get there, but you just have to be open and honest with yourself that if you see something that could possibly be a red flag for you, you have to pay attention to that and you have to take heed to that. And even after you take heed of red flags and stuff like that, and you get to the end and say, oh, this is not really what I wanted, then you should be at a point where you're okay with that. It's not devastating for you. It's not, you know, so hurtful for you to the point where you're basically like, I can't ever do this again. I have to close this door permanently. Is We're not meant to close doors permanently and not, we're human. We, in order to live life, you're gonna have to deal with some disappointments, pretty much. It's just you get to the point where you're able to better deal with those disappointments and understand that this disappointment is just another one towards that one that's going to be the best for you, pretty much. That's all I got to say about that one. Alice, you got anything to say real quick? I know
Yeah.
we over a little, but it's okay. It took you a minute to get on, so we good.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit. The real quick one with divinity is I'm with exactly what Ruby said. You have to be aware of what people use for titles. Don't worry about their titles. Don't worry about somebody's using the word self-love. If you see that they're being selfish, then they are not acting in self-love. So wipe the title away so that you don't have a toxic definition of what it is. Self-love is
Yeah.
boundary. Selfishness is not being concerned with anyone else's. That's just an example. Okay, so moving on to this question. Here's the deal. This is something that I had to figure out for me a while back. When you're when you deal with the, okay, I opened the door, it didn't work. I opened the door, it didn't work. Here is one of the main things that I was doing wrong that you may want to think about. One of the main things I was doing wrong was still, I may have forgiven the people that hurt me, but I hadn't let go of the pain of it. And because I
Mm.
hadn't let go of the pain of it, my tolerance for particular things where it should have been here for a new person, meaning clean slate, it was more like here. So they had such a short leash. They had such a short leash with me that I wasn't giving them a chance to mess up. Once and done, that was my mindset. In certain areas, it's still that mindset, but back in the day, it was every area. Once and done.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're dealing with the I tried but it didn't work, I tried but it didn't work, what I'm hearing is you still feel the pain of what has happened. So in terms of closing the door for a little while, I would suggest doing that because you have to give new people a clean slate. You can't go in with old eyes and expect to see new things. All your eyes are designed to
Mm-hmm.
do is look for bad. And so if it doesn't work, you're going right back to making that tolerance a little bit shorter and a little bit shorter until you have none. And when you have no tolerance, you won't find the relationship that you want because a relationship that's healthy is going to be based off balance. You have to learn to give forgiveness as well as receive it. You're not in a position where you want to give forgiveness, so you're not going to get it back. So when you are thinking about closing the door, if you're doing it for the purpose of self-reflection and healing and growth, I am 100% for it. If you close it out of frustration and don't do anything else, you're going to stay there. So that's what I wanted to add to that. What's up, Sherry?
Hey everybody, shout out to Destiny and David. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Soul Sunday with Ruby and Allison. Yeah, and that's it. I don't have my cards. I think me and Allison answered enough questions last week.
We did.
Y'all should y'all should really go back and watch that video.
Why you keep telling me
Yeah,
that?
Alex turned, like she said, three, four different shades of red. Look at her. Look at her.
Leave me
Look at
alone.
her. She's turning red right now.
Leave me
Y'all
alone.
should go back and watch that. I am gonna forewarn you all. Do not let the kids listen in. Don't let be not. Do not be in a public place. Make sure
Watch that
you
over dinner.
talked about a lot of stuff.
Yes,
We talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of
did.
personal stuff that we probably won't ever talk about again. But go back and watch it. I'll share the video so you all can go and watch it.
Oh God.
But we will be here on Tuesday. Soul Sunday Reloaded, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Allison and I both do offer coaching. Well, I don't like to call it coaching as it relates to me, but consultations and coaching, some other services. Be sure to reach out to us. If you want to purchase either of my books, you can do so at www.thegoddessgrind.com. Sorry. Or you can find me on Instagram at Ruby the Artistry. I have Soul Therapy Radio with my sister Tara, with our sister
Tara.
Tara. Um, yeah, if you are looking into advertising with us, please reach out to us or please reach out to me and let me know. Um, I offer root chakra consultations. I offer all kind of chakra consultations. You just have to reach out. They do vary in price.
Mhm.
Um, Pretty much with each one, whatever you need, that's you'll get exactly what you need. Um, yeah, that's all I got, Allison.
Well, I'm Allison Denise. Thank you to those of you who tuned in today. I do appreciate it. I am a relationship coach, excuse me, and voice, as I said, of the abused, misused, mistreated, mishandled, betrayed, and broken. It's my purpose, my pleasure, and my passion to show you how to let go of your ex, get ready for your best, and enjoy life in between. Feel free to connect with me on Allison Denise right here on Facebook. You can also link up with me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter under Miss MS Allison Denise. Don't forget my two pages here on Facebook, Miss Allison Denise, aka the Petite Powerhouse, that's me, and 501c3 nonprofit, the HGL Group. All of those other platforms, we're still figuring out what we want to do, but go ahead and connect now so that when we start putting up new content, you don't miss it. Also, feel free to go to AllisonDenise.com. Email me at Allison@AllisonDenise.com so I can find out how I can help you with your relationship and personal goal needs. That's it.
But thank you, Robin. We appreciate it. Hey, Donnie. Hey, Troy. But that's it. We will see you all on Tuesday. I
Bye.
gotta go spend some time with my grandma. It's her birthday, so.
Oh.
So yeah, let me go laugh at her. So I will see y'all. We will see y'all next Tuesday. Well, this Tuesday coming up.
Bye
So
bye.
bye bye.